Hello? Hello? If you're watching this video, then it probably means I recorded and edited all of this in Florida, since I'm going to vacation there for Thanksgiving break. I'll be going to both Disney World and Universal Studios, and I'm sure I'm having the time of my life there right now. Last time I went there was actually before COVID took over the world. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. Anyway, you clicked or tapped on this video to see me talk about my wild experience of seeing the FNAF movie. Or maybe you just want to hear my thoughts on this Spooky Bear movie. Or both. Well, you, my friend, have come to the right place. So if you don't already know, I am a massive fan of the Spooky Bear game known as Five Nights at Freddy's, or FNAF as most people call it. The game is simple. Survive till 6 a.m. for 5 nights working the night shift as a security guard for Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, or this universe's version of Chuck E. Cheese. The franchise has had several prequels and sequels, and nowadays it seems the franchise has forgotten the whole 5 nights part of the name, and reduces the games to only 1 night. I'm personally not a big fan of this change, but the one thing that keeps me a fan of this franchise is the lore. Holy crap, there is so much lore dumped into these 12 games, 3 DLCs, 25 plus books, and 1 movie. About to be 2 movies. Today, I'm talking about this movie. Now, if you know my channel, you would know that I do a lot of movie reviews. Just go check my channel and scroll for like 2 seconds, you'll find a crap ton of movie reviews. I usually do reviews for movies that I see in theaters, but I made an exception for the Sonic movie franchise back when Sonic 3 was about to release, and I'm doing it again. Now, the end of the year and last year will look very similar for my channel. I'll do a review of previous projects. In this scenario, I'll just do 1 movie since, there's only 1 FNAF movie and Sonic had 2 movies plus the Knuckles TV show to talk about. Anyway, I also made a hype trailer to get people excited for the movie, like I did for both Sonic 3 and the FNAF movie. And I'll probably do a theory video for this movie. I plan to do this with my most anticipated movie of the next 2 years, which coming up will be Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, which is funny because all 4 of these movies, Sonic 3, FNAF 2, Avengers Doomsday, Avengers Secret Wars, they all release in December. And as of now, I might be slightly more hyped for Sonic 4 than I am for Secret Wars, but we'll see when we get to 2027, after we get a Sonic 4 trailer and after Doomsday comes out. Oh, and just so you guys know, I'm basically spoiling the entire FNAF movie, so if you haven't watched it already, go watch the movie and come back to this video. I'll talk about it. I'm not going to say if it's good or bad, because I'm going to talk about it. Okay, I know with the self-promo for now. Before I get into my actual thoughts about my movie, I need to tell y'all about my insane experience seeing this movie. So sit back, relax, and listen to me yap about the Spooky Bear movie. So, me and a crap ton of people were all planning to see this movie on opening day. Sadly, almost everyone had plans that day. However, 2 of my friends were able to come. One of them is also a YouTuber named Dark Crusher. Check him out for this video. His content's great. My other friend who decided to come, I don't want to say his name, so we'll call him Bob. That's not his actual name, but we're calling him Bob for this video. Now, with most of my friends being busy, and my parents were also busy that day, this obviously terrified me, since I knew I didn't see it. If I didn't see it on opening day, I'd get the entire movie spoiled for me, because I was, and still am, chronically online, especially in the FNAF space of the internet. But thankfully, Bob's mom came in to save the day. Our plan was to have Bob's mom drop us off and pick us up when the movie was over. Very simple. However, my mom called me about an hour before the movie started, while I was still at my house. Also, just as a side note, I pulled up in a full suit and tie. I'm not sure if I will be doing for this movie, since I have to wear that suit to a wedding in March, but we'll see. And I think at this point, I already have an outfit right here picked out, so I'm probably going to be wearing this. I'll keep you guys posted on the community tab. So anyway, my mom told me that the rules for the theater that I was going to, which is my main theater, the main theater that I see a bunch of movies at, were that you had to be 17 or older to go see a movie alone past 6 p.m. And me, Bob, and Dark, we're all freshmen at the time. Thankfully now we're, us 3 are juniors, and we're bringing 2 more people. One's a junior, one's a freshman. But Bob and Dark now, they're both 17. However, all of us need to be 17, and I'm not 17 yet. Neither are my 2 other friends. So yeah, what we're going to do is my mom's just going to drop us off, and we're going before 6 p.m. for this. So thankfully we don't have to pull off Mission Impossible, as you're about to see. So anyway, this obviously terrified me even more, since it was just like an hour before we were about to see the movie. Anyway, my mom also told Bob's mom about this, and when I went over to Bob's house, we started to make a plan. And also, just as a side note, Bob lives right behind me, like straight up. I walked through a gate and then boom, I'm at Bob's house. Anyway, this plan was also pretty simple. I am not joking when I say this plan, all right? Bob would pretend to be a 17-year-old, since we decided that he could pass as a 17-year-old. And Dark Crusher would pretend to be his slightly younger brother, and I would act like Dark's friend. I am not joking at all. That was our actual plan. Obviously, I didn't have to do much acting since all of us are friends in real life, but you know what I mean. However, there was a slight problem. One of the main reasons Bob looked like he could pass as a 17-year-old was because of his mustache that he never shaved before. And do you guys... Come here, closer. Do you guys want to know what he did right before I came over to his house? Take a guess. You'll never believe what happened. He shaved for the very first time. Now listen, I get it. He wants to look his best for the movie. But right as soon as we got the... Anyway, you know what? I'm not mad at him. You shouldn't be mad at him. If you're mad at him, you're getting banned from the channel forever. I'm not joking about that, by the way. Okay, anyway. Because of this, we came up with a backup plan. That being that Bob's mom would just buy a ticket and few hours back and watch the movie with us. But this was our backup plan. We then left and then went to pick up Dark since he lived in a different neighborhood. Fun fact, I actually used to live in this neighborhood, but then I moved right behind Bob, so that was pretty cool. We explained the plan to him, and obviously, just like everyone else, he found it ridiculous. But again, we all did, and we had no other plan besides our backup plan. So we eventually decided, yeah, no, we're just going to go with the backup plan, just for his safety. Obviously, another reason why we decided to go with the backup plan is because we didn't want to risk getting kicked out. I mean, I'm kind of risking getting kicked out by telling the story, but I'm sure I'll be fine. This is me begging Cinemark to not ban me or my friends, as we were all stupid freshmen, okay? Please, Cinemark, I need this. Please, Cinemark, I need this. My channel's kind of not monetized yet, and I need the money. I don't have a job yet. Anyway, so we went to the theater, and let me just say, the theater was huge. We saw it on the XD screen, so the screen was, like, really big, and there were a lot more seats than a regular theater. So, like, it was, like, double the size of everything. This also meant that we were surrounded by other FNAF fans. Also, a funny thing happened. There was an empty seat right next to me, where me, Bob, and Dark were all sitting, and no one claimed that seat, so Bob's mom just sat right there instead. No one cared. No one took the seat, and thank God she did take the seat. I'll explain that later. So the movie started, and we had a pretty good audience overall. The best audience I've ever been a part of was easily Sonic 3. Here's a clip of the theater reacting to the post-credit scene if you're curious.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Oh my goodness! Yeah!
Oh my god!
Metal Sonic!
No way!
Yeah!
Wow!
Oh, is that?
Amy! No way! Shut up! Yes! 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 Oh my god! Oh my god!
Also, that girl that kind of sounds like Darwin from The Amazing World of Gumball, that is my sister. When Corey Kendra showed up, everyone cheered. I mean, everyone. It was great. This also happened when Vanessa name dropped William Afton. Everyone was cheering. It was, dare I say, absolute cinema. But then we got to night 5 in the movie. There's one scene where Chica is taking Abby to a room backstage, which we'll just call the parts and service room. The doors to the parts and service room open magically, probably from the kid that possesses Chica. Okay, I'm back. My sister slid this under my door. Please, Spin. Shut up, get out! Please, Spin, I need this. My mom is kind of homeless. I live with my dad and I want to help her out. She wrote that because she heard me talking about me begging Cinemark to not ban me. Anyways, as this happened, the lights in the theater started flashing. No, not in the movie. The actual theater. I thought it was awesome at first because I thought, remember, stupid freshman, all right? That it was an ad for extra effect that William Afton would walk through the doors and wearing the spring Bonnie suit. Anyway, but then I looked at the lights and I saw that they said fire on them. This obviously got my heart racing. Then an alarm started going off and the movie suddenly paused and stopped and the projector turned off. And then all 4 of us, being me, Dark, Bob, and Bob's mom, jumped out of our seats and we ran for the exit. We thought it was a legit fire for obvious reasons. We ran to the car and we got the heck out of there. Me and Dark called our parents and told them what happened. And I went home for a few minutes so I could change out of my full-out suit. We decided in the car that we'd hang out at Bob's for a bit since my parents weren't home, and my sister wasn't home as well. We planned on sleeping over at my house that night, and since Bob lived right behind me, it was no big deal. We went over there and played some Mario Wonder for a bit since that game just came out, and we had to mentally calm down from watching a horror movie. Not really a horror movie since more of a thriller because It's not as scary, and it focuses more on the plot than scares. Anyway, we went from that to a fire alarm going off, so, we needed a little bit of a mental break, so Mario Wonder. After about an hour, my parents got home, and we packed our stuff up, and we headed back to my house. Now, since we left at basically the climax of the movie, we really wanted to finish the movie. And thank Jason Blum, Emma Tammy, and Scott Cawthon that this movie was on Peacock the same day. My parents got the free trial for Peacock, and so we could finish it. So we finished the movie at my house, and obviously it was an insane experience. Good lord. And the Living Tombstone during the credits was absolutely incredible, and the post-credits scene with Corey Kenshin getting jump scared by Balloon Boy was so funny. And then we all got chills when we heard the Puppets music box playing, also during the credits. And honestly, we were pretty happy with we figured out we were able to rewind the parts where the voice ended up spelling out, "Come find me," because we couldn't figure out what it said still. We went to John FNAF's video. John FNAF, shout out John FNAF, that guy's the GOAT. And he confirmed for us in the FNAF movie review that it was "Come find me," so thank you, John FNAF. And anyway, that was my entire FNAF movie experience. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Now on to the FNAF movie review. So, the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. As you heard from my yap session, it was an insane experience seeing it for the first time. The movie will always hold a special place in my heart. And when I first saw the movie, I thought it was an instant 10 out of 10. And then I recently rewatched the movie, and I definitely still like the movie, but I definitely do not love it. Now, giving the movie my final thoughts is pretty tough, because for a movie based on FNAF, it's incredible. But as a standalone movie, it isn't that good. So, I'm going to do my best to try and critique this movie as both a FNAF superfan and a movie critic. To start, the set design is absolutely immaculate. The pizzeria looks really good. Mike's house is also really well made. You can tell that this is definitely one of the cheapest houses he could afford. And literally name any location in the FNAF movie and it probably looks amazing. Another great thing about the movie is the acting. Holy crap, there's some great acting in this movie. I especially want to shout out Josh Hutcherson, Matthew Lillard, Piper Rubio, and Mary Stuart Masterson. All of these characters were perfectly casted in this movie. My fan cast for William Afton before Matthew Lillard got casted was Willem Dafoe, but I'm very glad that Matthew Lillard got casted. Not to say that Willem Dafoe would do a bad job. I think he would still do incredible, but I'm happy with what we got. And honestly, Josh Hutcherson's acting was so good for such a mediocre script. Also, I am so proud of how far child acting has come. Back in the 90s, there was Macaulay Culkin and I think someone else, but that's really about it. Nowadays, it's hard to pick out every single good child actor, and Piper Rubio is absolutely one of the good ones. But the one that gets little to no credit is Mary Stuart Masterson. She does a great job in playing the unlikable piece of crap in this movie. She's Aunt Jane, if you didn't, it wasn't already obvious. As for the best character in this movie overall, I'm not kidding, I have to give it to the cupcake. They took a thing that sits on your desk. My light fell. No, now it's lowering the brightness. Good lord, I did not do it good. That bright. Anyway, they took a prop that sits on your desk in the first movie to the thing that sets off arguably the most important event in the entirety of Five Nights at Freddy's. That is just bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. I did wonder who possessed the cupcake, but now I think it's just Susie, the girl who got stuffed into the Chica animatronic. We've seen the doors open and close on their own all over this movie, and the only logical explanation as to how this is happening is the souls of the kids that possess. The animatronics can also possess some sort of objects, and I don't think the cupcake is any exception. A week after this movie came out, I am, again, stupid freshman, all right? I thought that the cupcake could have been Susie's dog, because we know that Susie had a dog that got hit by a car thanks to FNAF 6. Ah! And for the record, FNAF 6 is my favorite game in the series. That might be a hot take, but I find designing my own Freddy Fazbear's really fun. Plus, the story of that game is excellent. It also introduced my favorite animatronic in the series, Lefty. However, the part of the game where you actually survive the 5 nights against the animatronics, it's not all that great. Anyways, I love how all the animatronics have unique personalities. I'm talking about the movie now, obviously. Freddy is the leader, Bonnie is the strongest one, Chica's the mom of the group, the cupcake is the psychopath, and Foxy... So you know how I said my favorite character was the cupcake? Yeah, well, Foxy is definitely the best part about this movie. He gets so many scenes where he is just aura farming, and the most memorable scenes in the movie just so happen to have Foxy in them. I really love how Foxy was the only one who was just an animatronic and doesn't have another version where a person could fit inside the suit. You can tell pretty easily when Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica have people acting in them when they're in animatronic mode, but Foxy's just animatronic, and I really love that. Now I should talk about Night 4, where everyone builds a fort at the end. A lot of people didn't like the scene, but I promise you, I will defend this scene with my life. This was put here to prove that they're still possessed by children who want to play. I understand why people don't like this part, don't get me wrong, and wish for them to be a lot scarier, but I still disagree. You can tell that they're friendly with Abby since she's a kid, and they'll trust whoever Abby trusts. So that's why they're okay with Mike during these scenes. We also find out later that they've always been really chill with Vanessa, but that's beside the point. That's what made the final act of this movie so much more intense. Afton had control over the animatronics since he was in the suit, and they thought that he was one of them. This is why the animatronics were so nice during the night 4, and why they became fully evil during night 5. It's such a good scene in my opinion, and such a good scene to build up to night 5. Now it's time to talk about the less interesting human characters of this movie. Just to get one out of the way, we all know that Doug is the best human character in this movie, right? Right, good. I really hope he returns in some form in the future. I doubt he will since Aunt Jane dies in this movie and Doug was Aunt Jane's lawyer, but it would still be amazing. I can imagine Mike and Springtrap having the final fight where Fazbear Price is burning down in the background and Doug just walks in and then sees Mike and Springtrap fighting and then he just walks out. Something like that would just be so funny. Scott Cawthon, Emma Tammy, or Jason Blum, if any of you are watching this video, which I doubt you are, we need the return of Doug at some point. Give him a Better Call Saul style spin-off show or something. I beg you. Please. Anyways. Time to really talk about the human characters. I don't outright dislike any of them, with the exception of Aunt Jane, obviously. But they get overshadowed by the animatronics a lot. This is a problem with the Transformers movie and the Monsterverse movies. If you don't know what the Monsterverse is, that has like Godzilla 2014, Godzilla King of the Monsters, Kong Skull Island, Godzilla vs. Kong, and Godzilla x Kong The New Empire. And soon to be, Godzilla x Kong Supernova, which I'm very hyped about, as well as the Monarch TV show. Monarch Season 1 and Season 2. I know Season 2 is out yet. I don't know. I can't watch it because I don't have Apple TV. RIP. Oh well. Anyway, now the main common thing about these movies is that they shove these human plot holes down our throats, but I just do not care about the humans. Like, I want to see these big giant beasts duke it out. I don't want to see, actual character development, and even then, it isn't even done that great. The only exception I have are the Bumblebee movie, which is my personal favorite Transformers movie. Sorry, Transformers 1 fans. And Kong Skull Island. I care about them, but I cannot name a single other Transformers or Monsterverse movie where I do. And no, Godzilla -1 doesn't count. That's an Elseworld project. I am praying this changes with Godzilla x Kong Supernova, since it looks like we might be getting Space Godzilla in this movie. Whew. Anyway, time to talk about FNAF. Yes, the movie suffers from the same problems as those movies when the casual fan in me doesn't care about the human characters that much. That FNAF fan in me definitely does for lore purposes, but at the same time, they get outshined by the animatronics quite frequently. However, that won't be a problem in the sequel, since the animatronics are going to be leaving Freddy's. Which, come to think of it, why can't they just leave Freddy's in, the games? Like they could just leave. I'm pretty sure there's, some sort of detection thing, and I'm pretty sure the security breach explains that too, but, FNAF 1, just go, man. Anyway, Mike has made into an interesting character due to the stuff with his brother, and Josh Richardson's incredible acting. That being said, I need to talk about the dream sequences in this movie. I think they get a bit too much hate in this movie, and I fully understand the hate. It gets very repetitive seeing the exact same dream 5 different times in the movie, with some thing changing, with only 1 or 2 things changing every time. Which, the reason why I think these scenes are slightly overhated is because things do change in them. I do like how they keep you on your toes on what's happening next, and how it's different to compare the previous dream. My main criticism with these sequences is something different. It's the fact that Mike sleeps instead of doing the actual FNAF stuff. IGN made a good point. I cannot believe I just said that, by the way, that IGN made a good point. Anyway, they said that there was hardly any actual FNAF gameplay in this movie. Now, they did go on to say that the fans wouldn't like it, which that was terrible. What are you on, IGN? But yeah, I agree with them on that much. And that Donkey Kong Bonanza is 10 out of 10, but that's irrelevant. IGN said, there's not much FNAF gameplay in this. It's just Mike sleeping, which, yeah, I have to agree with them on that. I really wanted to see Mike, FNAFing it and not sleeping it. And also on that, there is, literally no FNAF gameplay in this movie at all. There's, one time where he checks the security cameras in night 1 for, 2 seconds, and really, that's it. Thankfully, it does look like they'll be changing this in the sequel, where we see Mike putting on the Freddy mask to deflect himself from Withered Chica, and I think Withered Bonnie as well. I just really hope that Withered Foxy jump scare in the trailer happens, because Foxy recognizes that it's Mike. It's B, the Night Guard! Yes, this bit is, yeah. This bit was written after the final trailer came out. Anyway, the fact that Mike doesn't actually play FNAF in the FNAF movie is one of my biggest criticisms of the movie. But it isn't my biggest one. We'll get to that in a bit, because I'll get a little bit heated about that one. I want to talk about the characters a little bit more. Abby's an alright addition to the movie, but I do feel like she's just used as a plot device for the entire movie. It's the whole reason why Mike is so poor, since he probably had to drop out of high school to take care of her. Aunt Jane's whole motive is to gain custody of Abby. The animatronics also want Abby so she can become an animatronic. It gets pretty repetitive after a while. I hope they don't use Abby that much in the sequel. Plus, they don't do that much interesting stuff with Abby in this movie. If they want to do something interesting with Abby in the future, I suggest stuffing her to Circus Baby if they ever get around to this location. I mean, she almost got stuffed into the Ella Springlock suit, which I thought was Circus Baby because I forgot about Ella's existence when I first saw the movie. But you know what? Their designs are close enough, so why not? Anyways, I also don't really like Vanessa as a character. My sister really didn't like her for all the lying she does in this movie. Like, she is a cop. Just arrest William Afton, please, and thank you. This is part of my main problem with Vanessa. The main problem I have with her is the fact that she knows literally everything about Freddy's and refuses to elaborate on how she knows this stuff until the third act. And just like I said a minute ago, she's obviously being blackmailed by William Afton, and she does nothing about it. She could very easily get a group of cops together, and they could all arrest William Afton together. I am very glad that they're explaining a lot about Vanessa's childhood and going more in depth about her backstory in the sequel, thankfully. However, that scene where Vanessa reveals everything to Mike is incredible. The cherry on top for me was the little detail when FNAF showed... FNAF? Yes, FNAF. The little cherry on top for me was the little detail when Vanessa showed Mike the picture, and you see the little toy plane that Vanessa was holding was actually Garrett's toy plane, which Mike's brother, obviously. That hit me hard when I saw the movie for the first time. However, there is one human character that I really need to talk about. His name is William Afton. My God, am I so mad that he's barely in this movie. We already knew that Steve Raglan was William Afton from the casting and such, but the twist reveal at the end of the movie did not work very well at all, because the fact that he had one scene in the beginning, and that's literally it. And Matthew Lillard does such a phenomenal job, both Steve Raglan and William Afton. What I mean by that is that he does a great job of playing the optimistic career counselor with Steve Raglan, and also does a great job of playing the murderous psychopath with William Afton. By the looks of FNAF 2 trailers, we'll be getting a lot more William Afton in this movie from Flashback, which is very exciting, because the one scene with him in the yellow rabbit costume was easily the best part about the movie for me. The first one, obviously. Sorry, not two. And, however, the line, "I always come back," felt very forced for fan service at the end of that movie. Don't get me wrong, I love fan service in movies because it will make a group of people love the movie a little bit more than they already did. And if I don't understand, then I guess I'm not a big enough fan to understand it. Yeah, that's right, I said it. I like fan service. Anyway, that being said, as a huge FNAF fan, this line was very poorly written. It is not... I can tell that Matthew Lillard really tried his best here, and I really loved the effort, but it did not hit very hard in my opinion. Especially considering the fact that, to our knowledge, he hasn't died before this. Maybe he did, and we'll find out about that in the future, but as of now, it didn't hit very hard. I really wish that maybe during the FNAF 2 post-credit scenes, he gets found by some employees, and where he's at... And when he's at Fazbear Frights, he stands up and says, "I always come back." That would have hit a lot harder. If I literally just predicted the post-credit scene for FNAF 2, then that would also be cool. But, you know, it wouldn't really quite hit as hard since he already said, "I always come back" in the first movie. Now, for this part of the review, I have to talk about the good and bad bits of fan service in this movie. I just talked about a bit of bad fan service with the "I always come back" line. There are also a few more nitpicks I have with this fan service, as well as the positives with this fan service. To start on a positive note, I loved the cameos in this movie. I'm not just talking about Matt Pat or Corey Kenshin being in this movie, or content creators like Daco or Fusion Z Gamer on the Employee of the Month wall, although those YouTuber cameos were all great. FNAF 2, please tell me you have Markiplier. He wasn't in the first movie because he was both directing and starring in the Iron Lung movie, but I really hope he's in this one at some point, because without him, FNAF would not be nearly as popular as it is today without, Markiplier's gameplay videos. Anyway, the cameos I'm talking about are the Ella Springlock suit, Sparky the dog, and Shadow Freddy all being in this movie. They were just there as background animatronics that the people who broke into the Freddy's got stuffed into. Sort of. They're laying kind of by the animatronics. But yeah, I really dug those cameos. I absolutely lost it when I saw Sparky, especially. will FNAF 2 have one of the FNAF 2 hoaxes, like the purple guy animatronic or golden toy Freddy in it? I did hear that there's a cameo that made Piper Rubio extremely excited, so do with that what you will. I also heard that Daco said that the cameos in this movie were better than the ones in FNAF 1, which I think that's a bit crazy, but you know what? We'll see in 3 days. I bet you it's either going to be Markiplier or Circus Baby or something like that, or hear me out, the Mimic! If it happens, I am going to start mimicking it all over the... And also, if it is Circus Baby, I bet it'll just be some blueprints. We did see in that last trailer that there were some Freddy Fazbear blueprints, and Circus Location does have blueprints of, like, Circus Baby, and I'm pretty sure Funtime Freddy. So, I don't think that I'm very far off. However, circling back to the negatives about the fan service, I don't really love how they have Sparky in this movie, and they call the restaurant that Matt Pat works at also called Sparky's. I feel like they could have changed the name of the diner to be something like Roxy's or Monty's or something like that. It would be a neat security breach reference. Another bit that I really loved was the Balloon Boy jump scares. Every single jump scare got me when I watched the movie for the first time. Come to think of it, there isn't a lot of bad fan service in this movie. So in this segment of fan service, I've talked about the credits. I absolutely love how they played the Living Tombstone in the movie. I'm sure if I got the proper experience and, you know, my theater didn't almost burn down. Also, for the record, it was someone smoking something in the bathroom, I'm pretty sure, at least according to my dad. I'm sure he's right about that. Anyway, I'm sure if I got the proper experience, my theater would have lost it. Anyway, the post-credit scene with Corey Kenshin getting jump scared by Balloon Boy was so random. It's so funny and a nice little treat. Anyway, if we get something like the Balloon Boy jump scare in the sequel with the Corey Kenshin cameo and stuff, I want Markiplier to be in there in some way, shape, or form. I am just begging for Markiplier to be in this movie. Come on, guys. It's a slam dunk. I love how after the Living Tombstone song plays, it plays the Puppets music box theme. Accompanying with the Come Find Me being spelled out at the end was genius and a great callback to the FNAF 2 minigames. It's honestly more effective than a post-credit scene, so they don't have to make their own version of the puppet, so they don't have to have a confirmed design to be used for in the sequel. I mean, to be fair, Sonic 2 did kind of use that where they, for the Sonic 2 post-credit scene, they had Shadow, but all they did was just recolor the Supersonic model and to make it look more like Shadow, but good lord, that model would not have looked very good if it were through the entire movie. Thank God they made a new model, because yikes. I'm pretty sure they also tweaked the Tails model from the post-credit scene of Sonic 1 to look more like Tails in Sonic 2 and 3, which definitely works for that franchise since, well, the whole reason for those movies existing was because of the design change of Sonic. You know, without that, we wouldn't have 2 other movies plus a TV show. But I feel like what they already did with this would have worked a lot better. How they didn't confirm, like, a puppet model. Like, if we hear it in post-credit scene for, like, FNAF 3, if they want to go for, like, a location movie, we can hear, like, you know, the show will begin momentarily from Circus Baby, like how FNAF World ends. That would be great. Like, you know, instead of confirming a whole Circus Baby design, because I already know people are going to lose it because of the design change. Also, talking about the Sonic movies again, I'm sorry, I'm just a big Sonic fan. I don't think they should change the Amy and Metal Sonic models from the Sonic 3 post-credit scene when translating them to Sonic 4, because they look pretty perfect when I saw them. The only thing I see them changing is Amy's cloak to be her standard red dress, but I feel like the cloak was just for the shock value, and they definitely will change it in Sonic 4. Anyways, to give my final thoughts on the movie, it is a great movie as a FNAF fan, with a few problems here and there, but the FNAF fan in me will always love this movie. However, as a standalone movie, like I said earlier, it really isn't that good. As a FNAF fan, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. But as a critic, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to give it a 5 out of 10. It's okay at best. This means that overall, I'm going to meet right in the middle, and this movie is going to be a 7 out of 10. So overall, I like this movie. I can see why people love it, and I can see why people hate it. I cannot wait for FNAF 2 to come out. But anyway, also, I wanted to talk about, real quick, my MCU movie ranking, which I am working on right now. Do not expect me to do one MCU movie per day leading up to Doomsday. My goal is to have the MCU ranking up after Spider-Man Brand New Day, so I have time to review that movie and put it in the MCU ranking. Anyways, like this video if you enjoyed it, because it took a lot of time to write. Also, consider subscribing it so you can watch my FNAF 2 review when that drops on December 5th. That review won't have any spoilers in it, by the way. So yeah. Have a good one, and I will see you on the flip side. Have a good night.